The story begins with a city under siege by an orc army led by the sorcerer Shogun. He is seen explaining his ideals to an enemy soldier, telling him to pledge allegiance or lose everything just like Metalacana Castle 2 years ago, further explaining that 90% of the cities in Metalion has already pledged allegiance to them so they can create a new peaceful world with their High King, Kalsu. While contemplating how to recover a lost seal, a soldier reports to Ingwe about civilians led by Aeon-made samurais attacking their food stores. Joshua tells his men to hurry before sorcerer Shogun comes with the main force. Ingwe arrives at the storehouse and attacks the civilians there. On hearing the noise, Joshua and the other samurais rushes to the storehouse and meets Ingwe. Ingwe challenges Joshua to a duel, but they get interrupted by Kai Harn, who tells Joshua to let her handle it. As Kai and Ingwe fight, Yoko intervenes and tells Kai Harn and the other samurais to retreat, because the enemy's main force are approaching. They all retreats from the storehouse, leaving Ingwe trapped in a barrier Yoko created. As they arrive at Aeon-made mountains, Joshua and Kai Harn report to the samurai leader, Lord Mifune, with Joshua telling him about Yoko, and he tells them to prepare for the battle with Kalsu as the tide is against them. Some revolting humans are ambushed and being attacked by lizardmen in Ho-Rando, but a samurai, Jorg Fishes, joins the battle and fights with them. In Judas Castle, Ingwe joins a lady and compliments her as she plays her harp. He asks her about the revolt in Ho-Rando, and she tells him a sorcerer Shogun, Macapine, is already there. As Jorg and the revolters continue their charge, Macapine appears and single-handedly defeat them, also decapitating Jorg, and leaves after telling him about his plans to invade Aeon-made. Jorg begins to drag himself back to Aeon-made without arms and legs. Kalsu holds a meeting with his sorcerer Shogun. During the meeting, he tells them about their mission and plans to complete the resurrection of Anthrasax, the god of destruction. Ingwe reports the appearance of Kai Harn and Yoko, and everyone is surprised to hear that Yoko survived. In Olan-made, Yoko catches Vi sneaking on her in the bath and kicks him out. Kai joins Joshua in training and asks to spar with him. Yoko celebrates Lucian's birthday, and everyone is shocked to hear that the childlike Lucian is 17. While at the training, Kai and Joshua talk about Lucien, who has Dark Schneider, the Wizard of Flame, sealed inside him, and Yoko's efforts to break the seal, through a kiss, severally has been futile, after dragging himself from Ho-Rando. Jorg finally arrives at the gate of Aeon-made to warn them about Macapine, who is on his way there. Due to his injuries being severe, Jorg dies despite Yoko's attempts to heal. Before dying, he tells that Macapine has found out the location of the samurai residence and is on his way there. As the samurai mourns Jorg, Yoko notices one of Macapine's threads on Jorg's body, and they all figure the enemy used Jorg as bait to find out their location. Macapine and a fellow sorcerer, Shogun, Bathory, along with a sphinx, attacks Aeon-made. Yoko rejects the prince's offer to shelter with him and chooses to go out and fight with the samurai before leaving. She kisses Lucien in attempts to break the seal. Shen faces Bathory, telling Kai, Yoko, and Vi to face the Sphinx while Joshua faces Macapine. Shen decapitated Bathory using a shadow technique, but Bathory regenerates himself using the bugs from his body and uses his bugs to devour Shen, while Joshua gets decapitated after being trapped in Macapine's thread. Yoko tries to bring them back using a spell that'll revive the dead and kill the caster, but Lucian stops her and transforms into Dark Schneider. Dark Schneider appears and single-handedly wipes out all the Sphinxes in one blow, leaving everyone in shock. Bathory and Macapine charges at him, but he dominates them, first defeating Bathory, using him to shield himself from Macapine's attack. After dominating both of them, Dark Schneider summons a dragon and they blast off Macapine, who is finding it hard to believe a human can wield such magic. Dark Schneider is excited to finally reunite with Yoko after 2 years away from each other. Yoko scolds and punches him for being away too long and asks him to revive the dead. Dark Schneider revives all of the dead, with Kai excited to see Joshua alive again. Macapine gets blasted off to an unknown city where he meets a man who tells him he was also blown off to a strange place 2 years ago. The man, known as Master Guerra, asks his men to give Macapine medical help. Two guards talks about rumors going on in the palace that any time Kalsu goes underground, an otherworldly voice is always being heard, and one of them disagrees, saying the god of destruction hasn't been awakened yet. That night, Kalsu dreams about his childhood, seeing his mom crying and begging for his forgiveness. He wakes up crying. Diamon, a vampire who claims to be Dark Schneider's student, invades Judas' castle with two beasts, but is approached by Shella. As he orders his beasts to finish her off, Ingui cuts their arms off, but they regenerate, with Diamon explaining to them that it's full moon, and they are stronger during the full moon. The other sorcerer, Shogun, joins in, and Diamon changes the background, explaining to them that he's dispelled Kalsu's illusion, and tells them that Dark Schneider is alive. Kalsu wakes up and joins the battle and attacks Diamon, killing his beasts. Diamon powers up and shoots an attack towards Kalsu, but he reflects it back at him and decapitates him. But a bat flies off with Diamon's head. Kalsu announces an emergency meeting and leaves. Shella explains to Ingui that she's worried Kalsu is no longer the man he is, but Ingui disagrees with her, saying he is loyal to Kalsu. During the meeting, Kalsu explains that he's going to send an army of demi-humans to wipe out the rebels and assigns a different mission to the sorcerer shoguns, sending them to the lost city of the elves, King Crimson Glory. Kalsu's demi-human army attacks a village, killing people, but Dark Schneider appears and single-handedly annihilates all of them. Flashbacks shows as Kai recalls when she was saved by Dark Schneider. Joshua notices her in deep thoughts, and they talk about how Lucien turned out to be Dark Schneider and how powerful he is. As they converse, Joshua recalls when Yoko begs Joshua to allow Kai Harn A from Sorcerer General to join the samurai. Later that night, Dark Schneider sneaks into Yoko's room and finds Kai Harn on the bed as he touches her. Yoko comes in and chases him out, and the other samurai joins in and starts to chase him too. Ingui and the other sorcerer shogun use an air fleet to begin their mission to find the final seal in the King Crimson Glory. The samurai interrogate an orc they captured, and the orc reveals to them that the sorcerer shogun are headed to the lost city of elves, and they all wonder what their mission is. Later that night, everyone watches as Yoko performs a dancing ritual. Afterwards, Prince Henry summons them to a dungeon and shows them a summoning gate found in the dungeon. They find a writing on the wall. Yoko fails as she tries to translate it, and to everyone's shock, Dark Schneider reads it and explains to them that it is Enoch, an extinct language from the Age of the Gods, and further explains that the gate will lead them to the King Crimson Glory, saying with enough magic they can open the gate. After much persuasion, Dark Schneider agrees and uses his magic to open the gate so the samurai can go to the lost city of elves to protect Princess Sheila, the final seal of the god of destruction, Anthrasax. Before they depart, Harmit tells Joshua they would be attacking Judas' castle now that it's defenseless in the absence of the sorcerer shogun. He later reveals that Gio Noto Soto, Yoko's father, is alive, but they are keeping it a secret from Yoko, so she won't get distracted as she is the only one who can control Dark Schneider. After getting prepared and fired up, Dark Schneider leads the samurai into the gate, leaving Mifune and Hammett behind. After they leave, Mifune tells Hammett and the other samurai to prepare for battle.